So, as Scott Maxwell told us in June, local circuit and county judge elections are very important. The county judge of today is the circuit and appeals judge and Supreme Court justice of tomorrow. Local elections impact our quality of life the most, and our circuit and Orange County judges will be elected for the most part on August 23rd. Today you will hear from the candidates for county court judgeships so you can decide for yourself who will get your vote. We are very fortunate to have back our two wonderful moderators. They joined us last month and did a terrific job, the Honorable Tarlika, Nunez-Navarro, and the Honorable Tanya Wilson, both proud Orange County League members. Since you met them last month, let me just briefly remind you of the bios for these two accomplished journalists, and just as important, as I said, league members. Today we will flip the order, and our first moderator will be Judge Tanya Davis Wilson. Judge Wilson was initially appointed by Governor Rick Scott in 2014 to serve on the county court bench and won re-election without opposition in 2016. When she was appointed in 2017 to the circuit bench, Judge Wilson served in the Domestic Relations Division before her current assignment in the Circuit Criminal Division. She is the first African-American female judge to serve as a county judge and a circuit court judge in the 9th Judicial Circuit. Before becoming a judge, Judge Wilson was an assistant U.S. attorney, a federal public defender, and an assistant public defender in the 9th Judicial Circuit. Judge Wilson received her undergraduate degree in journalism and her law degree from the University of Florida. Our second moderator is Judge Tarlika Nunez-Navarro. Judge Navarro is the first Colombian-American judge in the 9th Circuit. She is a circuit court judge for the 9th Judicial Circuit, where she currently presides in the Felony Criminal Division in Orange County. Prior to assuming her new role, Judge Navarro was a circuit court judge for the 17th Judicial Circuit in Broward County, where she was appointed in 2018 and re-elected without opposition in May 2020. Judge Navarro has presided over several divisions, including felony drug court, juvenile drug court, domestic violence court, and the Unified Family Court. She received her bachelor's degree from the University of Miami and her law degree from St. Thomas University School of Law. She sits on the Board of Advisors at St. Thomas's School of Law and is an adjunct professor at FAMU's School of Law. Now, I want to present Judge Wilson. She will explain the forum process and call up the first two groups. As a reminder, I want you to please stay seated at the end of the forum for some extra special remarks by my co-president, Nicolette Springer. Judge?
Good afternoon, everyone. How is everyone today? Good. Good. All right. I want to welcome all of you again, and I want to let you know that it is definitely an honor to be able to be with you all today with my esteemed colleague, Judge Nunez-Navarro. We are going to go over now the process for the forum. Last month's Hot Topic Forum was indeed a hot topic with the circuit judge candidates, and I'm expecting this month will be no less insightful. So the candidates will come to the podium in order by group, and they will each have 2 minutes to give an opening statement. And then after that, I will ask them 2 questions, and the candidates have 1 minute to respond to those questions. We will begin in alphabetical order by last name, and then we will alternate. Our timekeeper is right here in front of me. Hello. So our timekeeper will hold up a sign, candidates, to signal the time remaining and the time when you must stop. Please remember, these are hard stops, and I have been told that if you go over your time, I'm just going to say, thank you very much, that's the end of it, and I'm going to cut you off. Not trying to be rude, but I kindly ask that you stay within your time frame. For the audience, please hold all of your applause until we have heard from all 8 candidates, and we are going to honor them all by staying silent until the very end. So, with that, let's begin. I'd like to invite to the podium the candidates for County Judge Group 2. Jared Adelman, please forgive me, I'm going to get this, and I had it written down phonetically. Jared Adelman.
You got it.
And Judge Andrew Bain. All right, good afternoon to both of you, and thank you for participating in our forum today. You will each now have an opportunity to make a 2-minute opening statement. And Mr. Adelman, we will begin with you first. Please introduce yourself and tell us why you want to be a judge in County Judge seat number 2.
Thank you so much, and thank you to the League for having us all here today. I know you've heard speeches before, and I'll try not to repeat things that other candidates have said, because I know we sound all very similar when we're up here. But the fact of the matter is, I'm running, I can't even believe I'm running some days. My first job, I was bagging groceries, sweeping floors, cleaning bathrooms at Publix, and now 20 plus years later, I would never have guessed that I would be running for judge. My parents gave me some very simple advice when I was growing up. Regardless of race, gender, sexual orientation, even back in the 90s, that was a thing. We're all treated equally. No one is different. And that you should treat everyone the way that you want to be treated. And I've carried that into my career and into my life. I'm currently a board-certified public defender in criminal law. I have been practicing as a public defender for the last 12 years. For the last 20 years, I've been volunteering with an organization called Teen Court. It's a diversion program designed to help juvenile offenders get their lives back on the right track after they've made their first or second mistake in life. And I'm proud to say we have one of the lowest recidivism rates of any diversion program in the state of Florida. And for most of my life, I've been teaching chess to children between the ages of kindergarten through 8th grade. I actually started doing that when I was in high school and carried it on through college and law school. I'm running in this race because I think it's important for everyone to recognize that experience does matter. The Central Florida Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers conducts a poll every year. And I don't have enough time to go into all the details of that poll today, but there are copies of it at the front. In 2021, 144 lawyers completed that judicial poll, comprised of public defenders, state attorneys, and private attorneys, and ranked the judges based on their qualified experiences and how they viewed the judges. My opponent, unfortunately, not a slight on him as a person, was the lowest ranked.
And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Your time is ended. Okay, Judge Bain, it's now your turn to introduce yourself and tell us why you would like to remain as County Judge in Group 2.
All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Andrew Bain. I'm your Orange County Judge sitting in Group 2. Most of you here are very informed voters. You've read a lot of information before you got here about our life story and what we bring to the table. So I'm not going to reiterate all those things that you already know. You already know me as a father. You already know me as a community leader. You already know me as a mentor to the youth. You already know me as a husband of 15 years. You already know me as the judge that's been serving you for the last 2 years in Orange County. But I want to spend some time talking to you about something that has come up and the reason for some of the comments that my opponent has been making. In 2020, 47,000 women in this world lost their lives in domestic violence incidents. 7,800 of them came from the U.S. So there were 66 homicides in Orange County in 2020. 15 of them were domestic violence related, which is an uptick of almost 2 to 3%, 2.5 times the amount from the year before because of the pandemic. In September of 2020, after me taking the bench in the summer, I dealt with I signed warrants in a case where a defendant an ex-husband went to Naval Federal Credit Union and shot his wife to death after the injunction was put in place against him. What my opponent won't tell you, and what they were hiding from you, is that in the cases that they would criticize me about, I followed the law. I followed the law when the law told me that I needed to protect victims, their children, and other people affected by those cases. I followed the law when they had prior domestic violence arrests, when they had prior domestic violence incidents, when they were showing a risk that they were going to be a danger to you and your community. I followed the law. So it's convenient. It's like being a judge takes things like patience. Those things are important. But also takes courage, integrity, and character. When I told you all, when I stood in front of my friend, a former circuit judge, and now has passed us, John Morgan, and told you that I was going to uphold the law. I told you I was going to follow the law.
Thank you very much, Judge Bain. Okay, we will now move to the questions. The candidates are reminded that they have 1 minute to answer the question. Question number 1 will go to you first, Mr. Adelman. Research on implicit bias suggests that people can act and make decisions based on prejudice and stereotypes without intending to do so. The most striking and well-known research has focused on implicit biases toward African Americans, women, and the LGBTQ community. With Orange County's diverse population, what would you do to guard against implicit bias in your courtroom when you are making decisions?
For the last 12 years, I've handled almost over 80 jury trials. And one of the things that we have to deal with when talking to juries is making sure that they understand everyone gets treated equally. And we recognize that many of them come in with implicit biases that they don't even realize themselves. One of the first things I do in every jury selection, for the prosecutors in the room, trade secret here, the first thing I do is I go behind my client and say, do any of you remember his name? And it's amazing that out of 30 to 50 jurors, 1, 2, maybe 3 remember their names. And I remind them, you're going to hear him called the defendant, the accused, that guy. But he has a name. He's a person. He's an individual. And everyone has to be treated equally. And so in my courtroom, I would make sure that every defendant, and for that matter, every plaintiff, every victim is having an opportunity to be heard, regardless of their race, ethnicity, gender, or socioeconomic background.
Thank you very much. Judge Bain, same question to you. With Orange County's diverse population, what would you do to guard against implicit bias in your courtroom?
So as you've noticed, my opponent didn't answer the question about what systems he would put in place to do that. Step one, you have to evaluate the case and follow the law. There's times, and unfortunately there are times, where the law seems to be unfair. It seems to be biased. But your job is to follow the law and ensure that every person has an opportunity to be heard. So those systems that are put in place are designed to make sure that you are really reviewing the case. Make sure you're reviewing the facts. Make sure you're reviewing the things that you have to do in the courtroom. Make sure you're reviewing the law and making sure that that law is applied equally amongst everyone, no matter about socioeconomic, race, religion, anything to make that person different. Because just like it says above my bench, everyone is equal under the law. It's equal justice under the law. That's the idea. That's what we present. That's what you have to do. So those are the actual tools that you have to use inside the courtroom, not hypotheticals.
Thank you very much, Judge. All right, question number 2. Judge Bain, we are going to start with you on question number 2. Can you describe a time when you faced an ethical dilemma, and how did you handle it?
You face them every day in the courtroom. Every day you face the decision to either do what you want to do or do what you promised the people that you're going to do. And that's the ethical dilemma that I face every single day. We have an uptick in evictions in our county. We are seeing record highs in those cases. And it's unfortunate that part of my job right now is to evict people from their home. It's sad, it's stressful, it's something that keeps me up at night. It's something that bothers me to my core. But I had to balance that with, what did I promise I was going to do for you all? What did I promise, what did I say that I was going to do? Was I going to uphold those words that I spoke in front of my friend that was not with us, and uphold the law that we all agreed to? So it's an everyday thing in my courtroom that you have to decide that you're going to be ethical and you're going to act with integrity.
Thank you very much. Mr. Adelman, same question to you. Describe a time when you faced an ethical dilemma, and how did you handle it?
So as a public defender, unfortunately, we're faced with ethical dilemmas all the time. And of course, one of the questions that we get asked is, how do you represent someone if you know that they committed a crime? And it's an interesting question, because we always say everyone has the opportunity to have their rights represented. And someone actually told me many years ago, and I take it to this day, defense lawyers are quality control. We're there to make sure that the prosecutors, that law enforcement do their job right. And if they do, in reality, I should probably lose every single case. Unfortunately, we know that sometimes people are not as great at their jobs, or they don't do everything as perfectly as they should. And that's why we have defense lawyers, to make sure that we are holding everyone's feet to the fire and making sure that they are following their burden. When we have an ethical dilemma as a judge, our goal is to follow the law. Sometimes that may mean recusing yourself from a case. Sometimes that may mean doing something against the way you feel, but it's important that as a judge, you follow the law regardless of your personal beliefs.
All right, thank you very much. So to both Mr. Adelman and to Judge Bain, thank you both very much for your participation. You may kindly take your seats. And at this time, I'd like to invite the candidates for Orange County Group Number 8 to the podium, Michael Morris and Judge Elizabeth Starr. Okay, and just to remind both of you, you have 2 minutes to make your opening statement and to introduce yourselves. And we will start with you, Mr. Morris.
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to be here and to talk about our positions and our experience. My name is Michael Morris. You can look at my website if you have questions, Michael Morris, the number 4judge.com. But I will tell you that I have 27 years of experience, mainly in family law, some civil, some bankruptcy, and even some criminal experience. And so I have had a wide variety of experience. I have had to have a lot of patience to deal with family law, especially in certain areas of dissolution, child support, and child visitation. As far as experience, I have been a guardian ad litem volunteer for a number of years in the Orange County court system, and I've seen literally probably hundreds of children through to permanency. Sometimes that permanency is being reunited with their families. Sometimes that permanency is a permanent guardianship or an adoption. And that's actually been one of the most satisfying parts of my career. Why I'd like to be a judge now is I would like to be part of the solution. I believe that I've been an advocate for people long enough that I can certainly recognize when people are testifying truthfully and not. And I certainly would like to be part of the solution in finding what's going on with our cases. I would like to be part of moving those cases. I know what moves cases along. I am not a textualist. I believe that our Constitution is a living, breathing document, and so I believe I bring that experience to the court. I am openly LGBT. I've been involved with the Central Florida Gay and Lesbian Law Association.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Judge Starr.
All right, my name is Elizabeth Starr, and I've had the honor of serving as an Orange County judge for the last 7 years. I am the daughter of immigrant parents who came to this country in the pursuit of the American dream. I was born and raised in New York and moved here after graduating New York Law School. I have dedicated my entire 23 years of legal career to the public service in Florida. First as a prosecutor, then as a bureau chief of the Civil Consumer Protection Division of the Attorney General's Office for over a decade. Through my career, I have gained extensive criminal and civil experience, both as a practicing attorney and as a judge. My judicial philosophy is a form of textualism, but I want to explain to you what that means to me so that there's no confusion. I believe that a judge should follow the law, the letter of the law, giving the words in a statute their ordinary meaning and not adding my personal beliefs to cause a specific outcome. This is the most reliable way of ensuring everyone in my courtroom is treated equally and fairly. In addition to being a judge, I'm a mother, a wife, a cancer survivor, and an animal lover. I have 2 amazing kids that we adopted after going through a decade of fertility struggles. And I share these things with you because I bring these life experiences to the courtroom. And again, not in how I issue my rulings, but how I deal with the public and the attorneys that come before me. County court is often referred to the people's court. For most people, it's their first contact with our court system. They're nervous, they're confused, and what I realize most of all is that they just want to have their voice heard. And I pride myself on making sure that I listen to their concerns at every hearing. My peers know that they will get a fair hearing when they come before me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Morris, you are going to have our first question, and it's the same question that I asked the previous group regarding implicit bias. As I stated earlier, research suggests people can act and make decisions because of prejudice and stereotypes without intending to do so. And so what do you plan to do with Orange County's diverse population? What do you plan to do to guard against implicit bias in your courtroom when you make decisions?
Well, I don't know that there are any specific systems I can put into place, but I certainly do watch myself for bias. I certainly believe that even as somebody who's LGBT, I've been a victim of it at times. And you don't necessarily know if it's really an explicit or an implicit bias sometimes that results in those things. But I will tell you that I certainly am very conscious of that. I certainly have seen it in other cases where I believe that it was at play in cases, whether I was part of one of the attorneys arguing a case and a judge made a certain decision. But I certainly believe that I will be conscious of that. I will look for that. One of the great things about Orange County is that we're such a diverse county. And so I do believe that's one of our strengths and one of the things that we should look for in representation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Judge Starr, same question to you. With Orange County's diverse population, what do you do, or what would you do in your courtroom to guard against implicit bias when you make your decisions?
This has been an ongoing issue for all of us on the bench. We have all been taking training and being made aware that it's something that we all carry with us all the time, and it needs to be checked. So first and foremost, training and being involved in the community as well, and getting to know each other. But the only way I can really say my plan when I take the bench is to follow the law. That is why I believe in my judicial philosophy, because I don't know any better way. It's not perfect, but it's the best we have.
Thank you very much. Okay, so Judge Starr, we will stay with you for the second question. And the second question begins like this. Let's assume that a voter is looking at their ballot, and in their mind, you and your opponent are relatively equal. Can you tell us any personal characteristic or experience that would make you the better choice for County Judge Group 8?
I think that my personal experience is just growing up. My parents were immigrants. They came to this country with no money. If you're familiar with the United Way ALICE program, it's an asset-limited, income-constrained, employed group. I come from that group, and so most of the people that come before county court are self-represented and are in that group. And I feel that my struggles give me compassion and empathy to relate to them, understand them, and share my stories with them. And I know that most people, when they leave my courtroom, have information not to return and also understand the law that I explained to them.
Thank you very much. Mr. Morris. Let's assume that a voter is looking at their ballot and they see you and Judge Starr as equal. Can you please tell us what personal characteristic or experience that makes you the better choice for County Judge Group 8?
Certainly. I've been a lawyer for 27 years. I do believe that I'm thorough in what I do. I can certainly analyze the situation, come to a ruling, and yes, I will follow the law as well. I believe that the job of a judge is simply to ascertain the facts, to apply the case law, or the statutes or as may be appropriate, and to rule. And I can certainly do that quickly. One of the things that I've seen in my practice is that I am usually pretty good about following deadlines, and I certainly believe that I could be somebody that could move cases along, because sometimes justice delayed can be justice denied. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And to both of you, we want to thank you very much for your participation in today's forum. You may be seated. And so that's for the candidates in Group 2 and Group 8. I want to thank all of you for your participation. I will now turn it over to Judge Nunez-Navarro.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you again for having Judge Wilson and I moderate your forum. We thank you for your time and for caring about our judiciary. Our judiciary thanks you. So at this time, I would like to invite Group 9 up, Amanda Sampaio Bova and Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller was invited to attend, and he did plan to attend, but I'm being told that he had something come up. So we will just have Ms. Bova here with us. Ms. Bova, I will give you the floor for your opening statement.
Thank you, Judge. Hello, everyone. My name is Amanda Sampaio Bova, and I'm a proud member of the League. As you heard, I'm running for County Court Judge, Group 9. I decided to run for judge because I have personally seen the impact that judges can make in our community. And as a former public defender, I have unique insight into how and why people end up in the justice system. I care deeply about this community. I was born and raised right here in Central Florida, and I graduated from Lyman High School. As I said, I started out my career as a public defender and served for approximately 6 years. And then I went into private practice where I did criminal defense and family law and started my own firm. I eventually became board certified, which is a credential that only 7% of eligible Florida attorneys have. I believe that our community deserves judges that are highly qualified, but who also have the demeanor and personality that our community deserves. One of the most important qualities of a judge is a good work ethic. And I got my work ethic from my parents, who moved to Central Florida in the 1970s and started a small auto air conditioning business called Carcool. I observed them work hard every day and tirelessly for our community, and they built a successful business. But it was successful not only because of the hard work that they put in, but because of how they treated people. How they built a reputation of treating people with fairness, respect, and kindness. Like my parents, I also built a reputation of fairness and treating people with kindness. And that's why I've been endorsed by so many different organizations, opposing counsel, attorneys, and leaders in our community. I've been endorsed by the Orlando Sentinel, the AFL-CIO, the Orange County Teachers Association, the West Orange Political Alliance, and the Orange County Black Caucus, to name a few. But this is the reason why we have forums like this is so voters can be educated.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, your first question is, if as a sitting judge you were faced with enforcing a law that you personally disagreed with, how would you go about handling that situation?
Sure. So if there's a law that I personally disagree with, it's not up to me. You know, it's part of the balance of power, the separation of powers, rather. We elect our legislators and they pass laws, and as judges, we're obligated to follow the law that's passed by the legislators, and that's how we respect people's right to vote.
Okay. And while serving on the bench, do you believe you have a role in bringing important legal or judicial issues before the public or the legislature? Why or why not?
Sure. I think the issues that we can address to the legislature would probably be related to, court administration and funding. I think it's important that our courts are properly funded so we can have a proper administration of justice. So those are probably the most important issues that we as judges can bring to the legislature. like I said, judges interact with the community on a daily basis, so I think we're going to see firsthand the issues that are important to the public and what's going on in the judicial system. So we would be uniquely situated to bring those issues to the legislator.
All right, thank you very much. Those are your 2 questions. Let's give her a round of applause. Now I would like to invite Group 17, Josh Adams and Judge Gibson to the stage. Good afternoon. Mr. Adams, I'm going to give you the floor for an opening statement first.
Thank you. My name is Josh Adams. I'm running for County Court Judge, Group 17. I am a husband for 11 years. I've got 3 small children. After I graduated from high school, I enlisted in the United States Marine Corps, where I served as an infantryman in combat in Afghanistan. After college and law school, I took a job as a prosecutor, did that for a while before working as a litigator for a small firm locally, and then opened up my own practice with my wife, who's also an attorney. For the last 9 years, I've been working as a litigator, essentially a Lincoln lawyer, experiencing all the facets of county court. I do criminal law, I do evictions, typically on landlord side, I do small claims, I do garnishments. I've experienced it throughout all of Central Florida. I believe that my experience as a trial attorney does help me stand out. As a court-appointed attorney, I've learned how to deal with difficult people in difficult situations. As a father, I've learned how to deal with difficult people in difficult situations. A lot of my practice is talking to people who are facing the worst day of their life. They're deciding whether to go to trial, potentially go away from their family, and spend a significant time in prison. A lot of my time waking up every day is just executing, getting the kids up, getting breakfast, going through the whole range of human emotion every single day. So I feel like my experience makes me uniquely qualified as a litigator, as a former combat Marine, as a former prosecutor, as a business owner, as a husband and a father. Thank you.
Thank you. Judge Gibson.
Thank you, and thank you all for allowing us to come today. As you've heard, my name is Elizabeth Gibson, and for the past 2 years, it has been the greatest honor of my life to serve you, the residents of Orange County, on the bench as your county court judge in Group 17. Prior to becoming a judge, I practiced law for almost 16 years. The first 8, I was a trial attorney for the state of Florida. I prosecuted thousands of cases and nearly 100 jury trials. After that almost 8 years, I transitioned out of the courtroom and I worked for the 2 largest nonprofit healthcare organizations that we have here in Central Florida. I spent that next 8 years of my legal career serving our caregivers, the people in our community who take care of our sickest members. And in that experience, I was lucky to work for management teams that were dynamic, for organizations that poured money and resources into leadership training, personnel training, how to deal with other people training. And I can tell you, I use that every day on the bench. You've heard already today, county court is often referred to as the people's court. We see more citizens than any other type of judge in the state of Florida. Every day, there are difficult situations that come to court, and because of my almost 16-year legal career, I am equipped with the skills necessary to handle those situations, treat everyone who comes to court with dignity and respect. But I want you to know that my preparation to serve you didn't start with my legal career. As the daughter of an Orange County public school teacher and United States Navy veteran, my parents instilled in us from a very young age that our greatest calling in life is to serve others. They taught me that hard work, discipline, and commitment to service are the greatest things that I can do with my life, and I look forward to continuing to serve you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to start with you, Judge Gibson, with the first question. What if, as a sitting judge, you were faced with enforcing a law that you personally disagreed with? How would you go about handling that situation?
Thank you for the question. Actually, that happens regularly in our courtroom. As you just heard from Ms. Bova, The law is written by the legislature, and I'm a county court judge, and I frequently tell the attorneys who appear in front of me who ask me to do all kinds of creative things for which there is no law. I will say, excellent idea, Mr. So-and-so or Miss So-and-so. Could you point me to the place in the statute or the rule where I have the authority to give you the relief you're asking? And of course, there isn't a place, and I'll say, then unfortunately, I'm not allowed to do that. But I think that in that situation, we are able to work together to find reasonable solutions. It just has to be reasonable solutions that are contained within the law that was already written by someone else.
Thank you for that. And Mr. Adams?
Oftentimes as a criminal defense attorney, sometimes with people paying good money, sometimes they come to me and they want me to file all kinds of motions. They think that they've discovered relief that I haven't even thought of, and so they write out these detailed motions and they want me to file it. Sometimes they bring up good points, and I do try and give them the benefit of the doubt when that happens, but a lot of times I have to explain to them why they're off base, why it doesn't apply, or they just don't understand the law. So you do have to make these hard decisions, especially when there's pressure on you. And as a judge, it's not their job to interpret which laws they're going to enforce, but you are picking people who have the experience and judgment to how to handle those situations. And just because they are enforcing a law they don't agree with doesn't mean they're not going to find some sort of compromise in order to enforce it in a way that they believe is just and the right way to handle it. So that's why it's important to have judges who do have life experience, judicial experience, legal experience. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Adams, for your second question, please describe a situation in which you took a controversial position that angered or offended people and explain how you handled that situation.
Sure. Again, so a big part of my practice is doing criminal defense, oftentimes very serious stuff, sometimes high-profile stuff. And I do get clients, again, sometimes they are paying me money, and so it becomes an awkward situation when they want you to do something that you know is not the right thing to do. And I've had this happen fairly recently where a client who is facing a very serious situation, it is a high-profile trial, and they wanted me to recuse the judge, move to recuse it, because they didn't like the way that judge is handling it. Now, in order to do that, I have to file a motion, explain how I think that that judge has shown some sort of bias against my client, and I have to put it on the record. Well, I would not do it, and it does cause a conflict with my client. And so a good judge has to be willing to put themselves out there to make those decisions and to stand by them and explain themselves if and when they need to.
Thank you. And Judge Gibson?
I'm sorry, are you going to repeat the question?
Would you like me to repeat the question?
Thank you.
Please describe a situation in which you took a controversial position that angered or offended people and explain how you handled that situation.
And how much time do we have today? No, actually, thankfully in county court, thankfully, knock on wood, we don't anger too many people, but on occasion, there are people who are not happy with what I tell them, especially what I was just talking about. When someone is in my courtroom and they're asking me to do something that the law doesn't allow me to do, and I tell them I can't do it, sometimes people aren't happy with that answer. What I have learned is often it's how you deliver the message, how much time you take to explain it to the person, especially as you heard earlier from one of the other judges, I believe Judge Starr. A lot of the people who appear in county court don't have attorneys. So I think it's incumbent on me as the judge to slow down the pace in my courtroom and explain to someone who maybe this is the first time they've ever been in court and it's the worst day of their life, why I can't give them the relief they're asking for. But then we try to come up with another solution that does follow the law. So that would be the best example I can think of. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time. You may be seated. Let's give them a round of applause. All right, at this time, we are going to open the forum to the league members. Please remember, judicial candidates are limited in discussing certain subjects. Canon 7 states in part that candidates should not make pledges or promises of conduct in office other than the faithful and impartial performance of the duties of the office. Nor are they allowed to announce their views on disputed legal or political issues or any issues that may come in front of them in the future. Further, judicial candidates may choose to not answer questions that will put them or their family members in danger. This includes answering personal questions about their children, their family members, or any questions that would jeopardize their own personal security. At this time, I will invite all of the candidates to the stage. League members, please line up at the mic to my left.
There's no one else you can ask multiple questions. Only.
All our kids are experiencing this today.
Okay. I believe we can get started with our first question. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming today to share information with us. My name is Judy Hayes. I'm a League member, and I'm also with Families for Strong Public Schools. So my question is, if you have children, do they attend public school? Obviously not looking for personal information about where or when, but just a yes or no.
I'd like to answer with an explanation. I adopted 2 babies. One of them was born 7 weeks early, addicted to methadone. And we went through 5-6 years of public school with an IEP. And so I had 2 kids in public school. And when they graduated the 5th grade at this public school, I found a private school for her that had an advanced IEP program. We chose to leave her back to do 5th grade again in this private school so she could take the opportunity for more support through this private school IEP program.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, Judy. Thanks for the question. Josh Adams. I have 3 children, ages 6, 2, and 11 months. My oldest, 6 years old, just started 1st grade at a Orange County public charter school, and I hope the rest of them will be able to follow at the same school.
Hi, Amanda Bova. I do have a child in school. I would decline to answer this question only because I feel like it is very easy to find out where someone's child goes to school based upon where they live. I did graduate from public high school, and I do support both public and private schools, and that's how I choose to answer the question. Thank you.
So I'm going to ask to Ms. Bova Sampaio, because I love my baby girls very much. My wife and the safety of my family, but they do attend school. One is in VPK and one's in 1st grade.
And I don't have any kids right now. One day, hopefully very soon, but I attended actually Seminole High School and Greenwood Lakes Middle School, both public schools.
I don't have any kids yet either, but I'm the daughter of an Orange County public school teacher, and as a military child, we moved a lot growing up, and so I've attended all kinds of schools all over, well, sort of the world.
And I don't have any children, and I am a product of the public schools, and yes, I was also in a military family, so I attended many public schools.
Thank you all.
All right, thank you. Next question.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Susan Windmiller. I'm a longtime member of the League of Women Voters, and I would ask if any of you have been or currently are a member of the Federalist Society.
I am not now, nor have I ever been a member of the Federalist Society.
I am not a member of the Federalist Society.
I would like to answer this question and give another explanation.
No explanation was required.
Right.
It's a simple lightning question, yes or no.
My law school professor was the president of the American Civil Liberties Union, Nadine Strawson. She introduced me to Justices Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Justice Scalia and showed me what constitutional debate could teach us. She has spoken many times at the Federalist Society venues, and I love constitutional debate. And so I am a member because I think it's educational. I'm also a member of this league and many other organizations, and I ask that you don't judge me on one small part of my life. Thank you.
I am a member simply for this reason. My grandmother was a sharecropper. So when she came time to harvest her harvest and her family, and the landowner shorted her, she had no legal recourse because the judges made the laws. And that's purely unfair. And that's what's been going on forever. So those judges, those purposeless judges have brought you Jim Crow, have authorized the imprisonment of Japanese Americans, have told American citizens that are not American citizens in the Samoan Islands because they're too different. Those same judges have also allowed the removal of women's rights to even have babies because they have babies out of wedlock. So I don't believe in that type of system. That system is unfair. It's unjust. It's unjust that like somebody would not know what the law is before they showed up to court. That seems to be an unfair process that we cannot sustain in our society.
I have been a member of the Federalist Society.
Josh Adams, I'm not a member, and I've never been a member of the Federalist Society.
Amanda Bova, I am not a member.
Did we get everyone? Okay. Well, you all are getting off easy if there are no more questions.
All right, any other questions from our members? Okay, I ask that you remain seated. We have no further questions. We do have announcements from our president, but first, let's give our candidates a hand. And I will turn the podium over to our president. Thank you all for your time. Have a good day.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for a wonderful program. My name is Nicolette Springer. I am one of your co-presidents, and I'd like to thank Judge Navarro and Judge Wilson. You have filled some very big shoes for Judge LeBlanc, who normally does this for us, but he is retiring, and we appreciate your grace and integrity in how you handled this process. So thank you so much for that. As you know, many of you know that the League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization. We don't endorse candidates, but we do endorse issues. And so we offer all of you the opportunity to look at our questionnaire on Vote 411. There is a green sheet on your table. There's a typo. It says go to vote411.org. You need to go to vote411.org to get our voter guide, and you can put in your address, and you can read all the responses to questions that the judges and candidates here made, but also all of our candidates up and down the ballot. Before I go on with announcements, I'd like to take a point of personal privilege. For those of you who may not know, I am leaving Central Florida. And I was offered a wonderful opportunity in what is arguably the furthest point from here in the Pacific Northwest in Seattle. And so my family and I are relocating in 2 weeks, but I would be remiss if I did not take a few moments to thank every single person in this room for the honor to serve you as your co-president. But also, I joined this organization 5 or 6 years ago because I felt that we just were going in the wrong direction as a community, as a nation, and I wanted to be part of something bigger. And so I wanted to learn how to advocate better. I wanted to learn how to stand up for my community, and I learned that here at the League. I had wonderful mentors, and I will not name them all because I will inevitably leave some people off, but you all know who you are. Mostly women who were older than me, who showed me ropes, who taught me to use my voice, who taught me that if you step up in the community, and even if the community doesn't step up with you, you pick yourself back up and you move on. And I would also like to use this as a call to action for all of you. The League grows leaders. Our core mission is to defend democracy and to empower voters. But at the end of the day, what we do here is we empower women and our male allies to use their voice to let voters know that you have a choice. That every 2 years you get to go to the ballot and you get to decide who will change your community. And so we encourage you to please go vote down the ballot. Don't leave anything blank. Make sure you're getting your friends to come out in August, because in August, many of these judicial positions will be ended. They will not be on the ballot in July. They will not be on the ballot in November. Our school board members, we have a retiring school board member here with us today. That's an open seat. Those seats will most likely be finished in August. So we need everyone to go in August because there won't be runoffs for these seats. But in conclusion, back to my point of personal privilege about my departure. I love this organization dearly. I love all the women and the male allies here who have lifted me up and helped change our community. And I said I wouldn't name anyone, but I do think it's important that I name my co-president, Barbara, for with great grace and integrity has helped shape this organization over the last year and a half that she's been president, has been incredibly helpful to me. And I will tell you, it's just been fun to work with Barbara. We have phone calls and Zooms almost daily. I think yesterday or Monday, I started my day with Barbara on Zoom, and I ended my day with Barbara on Zoom. And we had a Zoom in the middle, I think. Every conversation, every event, every project that we work on together, we truly have fun and we laugh, and there's lots of jokes. And maybe a little wine. And we do, we do our best, and I appreciate what I've had the opportunity to do here. And I will continue to serve you virtually when I leave. I will be here on Zoom. I will be coming back for the holiday party, so please make sure you guys put that on your calendar. I'll come back for the stuff with the good desserts. But with all that being said, once again, just thank you so much for everything you've all given me. I hope that I did the best for you that I could. I hope that when you look back, you can say that I gave it everything I can, because I really did. I gave it everything I could here, and I hope that that continues on and you can all carry that legacy with your next leadership. I will move on to announcements. I don't think we're going to go to a different slide. Okay, so we have this wonderful program will continue on, and we have some new executive board members who will help fill the shoes in this spot, who will help do the announcements with Barbara in the coming months, and so you will see some other people up here doing welcomes and thank yous. But our next Hot Topics is in September. It's about our transportation tax, and as I said, the League does not endorse people, but we do endorse issues, and so we're endorsing this issue with the transportation tax, which is on the November ballot. We are full support of the ballot initiative for this cycle, which is the education ballot tax, which is only on the August 23rd ballot, so make sure you vote for that. We also have, our next slide is the next Hot Topics, which is October. We may not have a slide for October, but for October we will be discussing the ERA, the Equal Rights Amendment, and how we finally get our name enshrined in the Constitution. So come see us for that. We have a wonderful full program. So the other announcements that I have is that on your table you have some envelopes, and if you are willing to make a donation to our league, we are greatly appreciative of that. And I will also let you know that if you don't have a check with you or you don't have cash and you can't put money in that envelope, you can donate online, but you can also, if you're on Facebook, tomorrow is my birthday, and in honor of my birthday I am raising money for the league. And you can go to Facebook, and I already put the little donation link on there, so please make a donation. Let's see how much we can raise. You can raise as much as, I'm going to be 25 tomorrow, guys, $25. Or $19 for the 19th Amendment, or $26 because on the 26th of August, we're representing National Women's Voting Day, because it's the day we actually officially got the right to vote. So whatever works for your budget, please make a contribution. We also have, this is a lot of announcements. We also have early vote postcards. If you have time to write postcards to returning citizens, these are our returning citizens who lost the right to vote. We want to get them reinstated. So please, let's write some postcards. You can talk to some people out on the tables up front. Volunteer opportunities at our website. What am I missing? So many things. Oh, tomorrow, our President's Chat. Once a month, Barbara and I have a virtual President's Chat, which I will continue to do while I'm in Seattle. Unfortunately, due to airline situations, I was supposed to fly out today to go to Seattle for a business trip, and my flight was canceled, so they moved me to tomorrow, which now conflicts with our President's Chat, so we will be moving it by 1 week. So keep an eye on that. If you already registered for it on our website, you will get a notification that it has been moved. Grassroots University. This is a new thing that Barbara and I are doing. We are putting together a learning seminar every month. The first one is next Tuesday. We're going to be talking about how we can reach more voters. So please register on our website. And finally, the last thing I'm going to say is early vote has started. So we've got less than 2 weeks to Election Day, and I am an early voter. I know that many people in this room vote by mail, and that's great too. There's also, if you drive through up front of this early vote station, you will see that there are two ladies sitting under a tent. You can give them your ballot. But my family and I, my husband is here, John, and my kids are here, Emerson and Avery. So the girls get an extra month of summer because in Seattle, they don't start school till after Labor Day. So they got to come to the event today, and after this, all four of us are walking over to the library and we are casting our ballot. And so I am challenging all of you to do the same. If you don't have a plan to vote, now is the time to make one. All you need is ID, so you can walk right over there and cast your ballot. At the beginning of this program, I walked around to some of the tables, I said hello, and I asked, are you voting? Did you vote? What's your plan to vote? I'm going to challenge you all for the next 13 days leading up to Election Day. Find one person a day that you can ask that question. What is your plan to vote? Not did you vote or do you vote or can you vote? What is your plan to vote? Do not take no for an answer. Do not assume that they already have one. Ask them how they're voting. Ask them if they need a ride. Ask them if they need education. Ask them what they need, but ask them how they are voting. Make sure you get them that information. Early vote runs through August the 21st, so there are plenty of opportunities. There is a day off on the 22nd, so no voting on the 22nd, and then the election day is the 23rd. We're encouraging everyone to go early. We're in hurricane season. We don't know what's going to happen with weather. We've got some things happening in the tropics. Make a plan and make sure you go out and vote. And with that, I think I've gotten through this incredible, there's a second page, guys. Oh my goodness. Oh, the one thing that I will say, next Wednesday, Barbara and I have had the wonderful opportunity to partner with PTA for our education forums, and we've been partnering with the NAACP for various forums. We had one for State House 41 last week, and next week we are partnering with them for County Commission 6. This is also, County Commission seats will most likely end in August as well. So please make sure you get out and do that. And that is the end of these very long announcements. I want to thank the Hot Topics Committee for an amazing event, as per usual here. You guys step it up every time. And I just, again, thank all of you for the opportunity that you've given me to serve you, and I wish you all well, and I will see you in December for a holiday party, but Barbara wants to see you every month here for Hot Topics. So make sure you come out and give her some support. Thank you.